Okay, guys. So several people have asked me how I pull a design off of either a picture of a headstone or something off the internet or something somebody drew. How to pull that and turn it into a vector design for a headstone or for really any type of engraving. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to show you how to turn something like this into something like that. So that is that. Nice and clean, ready to turn into a vector design, ready to go. So let's get into it. So first thing you want to do is you want to download Procreate. That's what this is, Procreate here. This is what the icon looks like, just like that, black with a little design in the middle of it. Okay. Once you do that, it's gonna take you to this here. What you want to do is go to this little plus sign. It's gonna say new canvas. You're gonna want to go to a 24 inch by 24 inch. Now, if you don't have a 24 inch by 24 inch or whatever the biggest one you can do, I can do a 30 inch by 30 inch, but in this case, we're going to do 24 inches by 24 because I just know that this design is going to go on a 24 inch stone. So it's going to be the stone's going to be at least that big. So go ahead and go to your 24 by 24. That's that, 24 inches by 24 inches canvas here. Okay, once you have that, you're going to want to go to this little icon here of a little wrench. You're going to want to go to add. You want to go to insert a photo. And this is where you're going to insert whatever photo you had of that design. So whether you take it out at the cemetery or you imported it from Google or whatever, you go to insert photo. Okay, we've already done it here. Go to wherever you put the design. Okay, so let's just say the family found this on the internet and they really, really liked those mountains. Nothing else, just the mountains. They want those exact same mountains on their stone. So what I do is I grab it and blow it up as big as I can on the 24 by 24 or 30 inch by 30 inch, whatever you want to do. Right there. So all we're wanting are these mountains. So you want to go here, click on a new layer. It says layers. Click on a new layer. But before you do anything, you want to lighten this layer by changing the opacity of it. So you want to go down to about, 30%. Right there's 34%. Click back on your layer because you do not want to trace on this layer because then you can't do anything with it. Make sure you're tracing on the second layer. So now we're on the second layer here. Go see which pen you're using. I like to use the technical pen. Go to technical pen. Let's just say it's the stabilization is at 22%. Stabilization means whenever you do a line, it's going to be nice and crisp. It helps take the wiggle out of the lines. So we want it at 100% or max. Okay? Zoom in as big as you want and just start tracing that outline. Obviously, these are mountains, and this is just for an example, so I'm just going to get through it. You can take as much time as you want to get all the little details. Get familiar with Procreate. It's a really great program. It's very simple and user-friendly. It takes a minute to get used to, but once you've been using it for a while, all this stuff kind of gets a little easier and a little quicker. When you first start out, it's going to be like, what the heck did he say to do? Just save this video, go back to it, make sure you're commenting and telling me how amazing this video is. Even if it's not that amazing, just say it so I feel better. Also, when you're doing this is all going to be black like a silhouette when we're done. So what you don't want to do is have gaps in your lines wherever it's going to be filled in black. And I'll show you why. Well, let's leave that one open so I can show you. If you're a headstone designer and you're cutting into stencil and you're sandblasting and you're having to peel this stuff out or weed it out on the stone, you'll know, I'll show you, you'll know that if the design is like this, that's not going to work. That's not enough space. So you adjust accordingly on this design program. So I just move it away from each line. I make sure there's enough gap in every line. And you know why if you do headstones, engraving with sandblasting. Okay, so, oops. Like I said, this is just going to be real quick so I can get through it and show you the rest. It's not a super long video. A lot of people still do this by hand, and I've explained it in other videos how people still do this by hand by printing out a vector design or a silhouette of these mountains or whatever it is and rub a solvent on the back of the paper and it stamps the design into it, and then you cut it out into the stencil with an X-Acto knife. But that takes a long time. There's not a lot of time or room for adjustments. This, you can literally just go back. Look, you see? You can just change it in a second. So when you're doing this kind of stuff and you're going back and forth with families and trying to get a nice design together for a family, you want to be able to do it quick. And you want to be able to show the family, let's say they like this one and 5 other mountains. Well, on this program, you can have 5 mountains ready in, I can have 5 mountains ready in 15 minutes for them to look at or to throw on a design so they can see what it looks like. You know, I really, really appreciate and love the old techniques, and I know how to do a lot of that stuff. I was taught, luckily, how to do a lot of that. But if you have a tool like this, why not use it? Okay, so I'll show you why you want to make sure that you finish your lines up, because all this is going to be black. So I'm going to grab black from over here in my palette, and I'm going to drop it, and then continue filling. So I can fill this, and if I fill this one that's not completed, it makes the whole thing black because it's trying to fill everything that's inside of there. And now that's broken, so we want to just fill it up and then fill it. There you go. Continue filling. Oh, man. There you go. So there's the design. Now let's take off the layer with the old design, the original, and there it is. So really at this point, if I wanted to do it by hand, I could print this out, get the paper, get the stencil, lay it down on the stencil, get some solvent, and rub it on there, and it'd make a perfectly good stencil sticker on my stencil in order to cut out with an X-Acto knife. But we're not going to do that because we want to give the family a few different options and then be able to cut all of this with our stencil cutter. So we're going to take this and we're going to put it into the Omega Composer design program that I use to vectorize and to design everything. And if you're a headstone designer and just engraver, headstone engraver, you'll know what design program I'm talking about. So in order to get it there, we go little wrench tool, go to share. You can pick any of these. Procreate, PSD, PDF, JPEG, PNG, TIFF, TIFF, PDF. I already said PDF. But yeah, you can choose any of those and then just save image. And then however you need to get it to your computer from there, I usually just email it to myself and throw it on there. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay. Now that we have all that done on Procreate, we're here on Composer. So Composer looks like this. I'm sure, well, there's the design. So Composer looks like that icon right there. If you don't have Composer, it's a whole other video. But I'm sure if you do headstones, you probably mess around with this design program if you cut your own stencil on a stencil cutter. This is what most people use. If you use something different, let me know. Let me know in the comments what you use. I've just been using this design program for a long time now, so I'm pretty familiar with it. Anyway, so in order to get that design, I've already emailed it to myself, got it on this computer, saved it to my desktop. So we're going to go to File, Import. I just remembered I don't have my key, which is the dumbest thing about these computer design programs, that you have to have a key. Makes you buy a disk for every computer. So no, attempt to use security key. All right, here we go. So go to Desktop. Remember, we went to Import. Now we're in Desktop. Make sure you go to JPEG because that's what our design is a JPEG. Oops, that was not a JPEG. Click on JPEG. Everything JPEG in Desktop will pop up. I saved it under Mountain or Mountains. Double click. Let's just drop it right in there. And it's going to drop the same size as what we did it. So I think we did a 24 by 24, something like that. So now it's on there, just like we designed it on Procreate. Go to Tools, Raster Vector. Now, in the comments, if you know anything about these numbers here, what they should be on this design program, please let me know. I've always been doing the same thing. I've always wondered. I've never watched any tutorials or anything. I've just always left it at 0 and 0. So let me know if you have any suggestions. But it usually works out pretty good. Let's see. Hit OK. It just vectorized the design. Click off of it and then click back on it, and it'll grab one or the other. And there you go. Those mountains, the exact same mountains from that design that we pulled it off of are right here. So now we can delete that and we can zoom in and just see. So let's just see what the size is real quick. Oh my gosh. Zoom in then. So it made that line an actual line that you can peel out. Let's see what the size is. So it's 22 inches, 22 and a half inches long by 6 inches tall. So if you had a 24-inch stone, you can obviously just stretch it or whatever to make it fit on here's a 24-inch box. So you just grab the design and make it a little bigger to fit on a 24-inch, let's just say 24-inch upright. You would just stretch it out to make it fit. And there it is. And let's zoom in, see how clean it is. Pretty clean. Clean enough to cut with a stencil cutter. Clean as in, like, if you zoomed in right here and it was pixelated, that stencil cutter is just going to take forever to cut all those little lines on the pixels. So that's really clean. That's ready to cut, to me anyway. If you want something cleaner, then you can make adjustments. One thing to point out, what I always make sure to do, let's go back. How far back did we go? Okay, let's say we just imported that. It's always really important, at least to me, to not mess with it right here, to leave it the exact same size I just imported it in. 24 inches. Okay, so it's that 24 by 24 box that we saw on Procreate. Then go to Tools, vectorize it, hit OK, vectorize it. There it is, vectorized. And now we can separate the two, delete this guy. And now once it's vectorized, then you can change it, manipulate it as much as you want. Make it big, make it small, whatever. Because if you do it as a JPEG imported, it's going to mess up the pixels and it's not going to be ready to go. So always import it, leave it as is, vectorize, and then you can mess with it. So you can throw this on a template. You can have 5 of these ready for the family when they come in. You can switch them out and just see which one they want. Trash the other ones, use this one, and then it's ready to cut on your stencil cutter. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you think of anything else as far as designing goes that you have questions about, please leave in the comments. I'm always happy to show and help, explain. I've been doing this for a long time, been using these programs for a long time. So I do have some knowledge in this. Yeah, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe. And yeah, let's talk in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.